Hi everyone, welcome back to Hell. So Hulk Hogan has been in the news recently. That was refreshing. Yes, I know I like to make fun of the Hulkster here, but in all honesty, I do have a lot of respect for what he's done for professional wrestling. Pro wrestling is of course a predetermined act, but to be successful in the business, you have to be a good actor. And say all you want about the guy, but during his prime, Hogan was one of the best of his time and is in part responsible for what wrestling is today. And then turned himself into a walking advertisement, but I digress. But while he did have a very accomplished wrestling career, did all the success translate into Hogan's acting career? Not really. While things started off hot with a prominent role in Rocky III, Hulk's acting career would take a nosedive when he became the main star. You had No Holds Barred, a film produced by the WWF themselves that was panned by most critics, Santa with Muscles, a Christmas movie that currently sits within the top 100 lowest rated movies on IMDb. And who could forget about Mr. Nanny? Everyone, apparently. But if there's one movie of Hogan's that I've always been somewhat curious about, it's probably Suburban Commando. Released in 1991 by New Line Cinema, Suburban Commando has Hulk Hogan play a supergalactic alien who has to integrate with Earth after crash landing. He then gets accepted into a suburban family who help him defeat terrorists from outer space. And while the prospect of Hulk Hogan playing a supergalactic alien warrior seems entertaining enough, my real interest comes from how Shelley Duvall and Christopher Lloyd play main characters here. I mean, after all, if Christopher Lloyd is in a movie, it's gotta be good, right? And you may think to yourself, Nick, come on. We all know you only chose this movie because you wanted to make fun of Hulk Hogan again. And to that I say, yes. So without any further delay, let's all watch Suburban Commando to see how Hulk Hogan fares on the silver.
Hello, Nick.
Oh. Hi, Mr. Evil YouTube executive, sir. You've been conspicuous by your absence.
Yeah, after last time I meddled with your buffoonery, YouTube thought I was being a little too harsh somehow, and they suspended me. But they've now brought me back on a probational basis.
Okay, so why are you here?
Well, as part of my ongoing punishment, old Neil up there, he's forcing me to cover whatever you're talking about today with you.
Oh. Okay, well, I appreciate that, I guess. Hope you like Hulk Hogan.
Isn't that the guy that said he gets turned on by his kids?
But in the twilight of Hulk Hogan's career, my kids turned me on.
The movie begins with a wide shot in space as... You've gotta be f***ing kidding me. Yeah, you know a movie's gonna be great when it starts with a shot that's literally stolen from Star Wars.
Well, hey, at least they didn't steal anything from the holiday special.
Please don't remind me. Anyway, we enter the ship and find a random president being held captive by our main villain, General Suitor.
All those taxpayer dollars poured into hardware, and look where it gets you.
But soon enough, the conquering hero comes to save the day, Chef Ramsay.
It's fucking... Donkey! Come here, you muppet!
Wait a minute. Oh, sorry, I meant, Shep Ramsay. Gordon Ramsay would probably make this movie 100 times better, though.
Ramsay then makes his way through the ship, throwing in cheesy one-liners with the most monotone voice possible.
Going up? Let me give you a hand. Going down.
After Ramsay makes it to the cockpit and gets ambushed, the president throws a metal rectangle thing, which makes Suitor go full lizard person.
Negotiations have ended.
And instead of saving the president, Ramsay runs away, leaves bombs all over the ship, and explodes it.
I don't know how to say this, but you haven't been quite the old Ramsay. The old Ramsay would never have let President Hashima get killed.
Now, wait a minute.
That's all right. I'm not blaming you.
What do you mean you don't blame him? He could have easily saved the guy but decided to bitch out instead.
Anyone in your position would be a little stressed out.
I'm not stressed out.
The ship then completely malfunctions from a single hit, leaving Ramsay looking for a planet to stay on while his ship recharges.
What am I going to do for 6 weeks? Oh, no. Earthlings. I hate Earthlings.
At least he admits to it. We then meet the Wilcox family as a very loud and oddly placed rap song plays in the background. We have Charlie, played by Christopher Lloyd, Jenny, played by Shelley Duvall, and their 2 kids who, they don't really matter, they're barely in this film.
We find out the family is going through financial troubles, so Jenny forces Charlie to ask his boss, Mr. Belt, for a raise.
What are those, the blueprints?
Oh, Charlie, yes. Yes!
That dude's, He's getting a little excited there.
Belts then brags about his awards to Charlie, who then chickens out of asking for the raise, before Ramsey crash lands on a building literally named the landing pad. Wait a minute. What happened to the music?
That's copyright material, you son of a bitch!
Charlie then gets into and loses a random drag race, before we cut back to Ramsey failing to blend in.
Yeah, what?
You know what? Forget about everything else he's done. That's the best thing that Hulk Hogan has ever done. Scripted or not. Charlie then gets home to a drag car blocking his driveway, almost gets murdered by a speeding car, and then gets towed off by a guy in an army car without any wheels. Seriously though, what the hell even is this neighborhood? Were they trying to cram every single living stereotype onto one street?
Sounds like a typical Florida neighborhood to me, honestly.
Jenny then tries to seduce Charlie, who completely shrugs it off and returns to his workshop.
I've converted the shed into a rentable apartment. See how it solves our problems? Now you don't have to ask for that raise.
Wait, so you're telling me that in a couple of hours that Charlie was gone, she moved all his stuff out, painted the walls, and moved all that furniture in there?
You're shocked by this and not literally everything else?
I'm here to rent the apartment.
After settling in and not understanding the concept of children, Ramsey has dinner with the Wilcoxes.
Where are you from?
France.
Charlie can tell that Ramsey's up to something and decides to search the apartment while Ramsey's gone.
The car is on fire.
That's a lawsuit. The blast from the gun is detected by the baddies, leading them to send 2 bounty hunters, one played by The Undertaker for some reason, to find Ramsey. We then see Ramsey attempt to adjust to life on Earth by trying to kill a mailman, beating up a paperboy, falling on his ass off a skateboard, and then chucking said skateboard into space.
Sounds like an average day in Detroit to me.
Okay, seriously, how have the cops not been caught on this dude yet? He's only been on Earth for less than a day and he's already terrorized like half of the neighborhood. Charlie then gets into and loses the exact same drag race, and comes home once again to a drag car blocking his driveway.
Ramsey then helps Charlie by moving the car out of the way, which immediately pisses off the mechanics.
You got any idea what we're gonna do to you if we find one itty-bitty scratch on him?
Let me guess. You're gonna pound my face, break every bone in my body. Then you're gonna drag me across the gravel road and feed my remains to a warthog. Is that about right?
What are you, nuts? This is the 90s. We're gonna sue you.
I'm sorry, you're gonna sue him for a tiny little scratch, but you're not going to sue him for blowing up your entire car? Ramsey saves Charlie's kid from imminent death, flips and beats up the drivers of the car, before he's officially welcomed into the Wilcoxes as the family dog.
How wholesome. How wholesome.
Still not convinced by Ramsey's intentions, Charlie decides to follow him as he leaves his apartment at night. On the way to check on his ship, we see Ramsey stop an armed robbery, destroy a sentient car alarm, and beat up a random mime in an alleyway performing to absolutely no one.
Hey man, sometimes even mimes need to practice their craft. As creepy as they are.
In full makeup in the middle of the night.
Approximately 21 Earth days to full recharge. You are stuck here.
As Charlie sneaks into his ship, Ramsey gets scared by random sound effects and cocks his non-existent gun, only to find himself inside an arcade.
Use your phasers!
I can't! I'm in hyperspace!
Ramsey then takes over for this helpless kid, and destroys the game so hard that it literally waves a white flag.
You just saved the galaxy!
Why are there so many kids here in the middle of the night? Where are their parents?
Yeah, I wouldn't even leave my kids alone with Hulk Hogan. If my ex would let me see them. After Ramsey beats up the same mime for a second time, Charlie decides to try on some of his equipment.
X-ray glasses.
Let the woman go!
At least Hogan isn't the only one who looks stupid in that suit. After barely surviving a gunshot to the chest, Charlie's suit springs into action, does the f***ing worm, and beats up the burglars.
If there's anything I can do for you, anything at all.
Doing good.
Is that what I think it is?
Please don't age restrict this video. Charlie ends up leaving one of Ramsey's guns behind, giving the bounty hunters an exact location to find him. Wow. That's a pretty weak scream for someone who's known for being loud and obnoxious.
Ramsey then tries to save and then obliterates a cat stuck in a tree before heading back to his ship to find out the bounty hunters are here.
Where's Charlie Wilcox?
In a meeting, can't be disturbed, leave a message or take a seat. I said take a seat. Oh, funny. That's real funny.
Mr. Belts tells Charlie to have finished blueprints by the end of the night, before Ramsey drags him to find the missing weapon.
Come on, let's go. We can find them with this. It zeroes in on the gun's electronic signal.
Oh, come on! They've stolen from Star Wars and now Ghostbusters too? The tracker leads into a bank, where we learn the weapon is actually a freeze ray. Does this movie have any subtlety? Ah, yes. Christmas music. Works just as well as visiting a cemetery and blasting Halloween music.
The two then encounter the same burglars from the previous night and fight them to get the freeze ray back.
Antifreeze.
I really hope nobody tried to replicate that, oh my god.
Ramsey then defeats both of the burglars, only to find that Charlie has been frozen himself. The bounty hunters then break into the bank, but Ramsey and Charlie mostly escape intact. Ramsey then tries to figure out a plan to stop the bounty hunters, but Charlie pushes back.
My family were fine before you brought your intergalactic grudge match here. Christ! I was frozen today!
That one line is probably the greatest thing in this entire movie. The two then immediately make up when they realize they can use Belts' crystals to kickstart Ramsey's ship, and infiltrate the company's party to find them.
You know, I don't believe I caught your friend's name the other day. What's the matter? Don't they have parties where you come from?
Not like this one.
I know, dull, huh? I mean, what could be better than a bunch of beefy, burly boys?
Wasn't she just yelling at Ramsey earlier in the day?
There should be a key around here somewhere.
They eventually nab the crystals, but the bounty hunters arrive to stop them.
We then get a surprisingly good fight scene between Ramsey and the bounty hunters, and once one gets crushed to death by an elevator, we finally get to hear the American badass speak.
You're a dead man, Ramsey.
No wonder you guys never talk.
Easy crowd, I guess.
Don't make me terminate you.
Ramsey then defeats Mr. Baby Talk, and heads back to the ship with Charlie to get ready to leave. Oh god, this is giving me flashbacks. Charlie gets back home to find General Suter holding his family hostage, meaning that he somehow survived his entire ship exploding.
Suter then ambushes Ramsey and brings the Wilcoxes in to force Ramsey's hand.
Got 10 seconds to come out with your hands up, Ramsey, before you see the inside of this beautiful child's head.
Sometimes you gotta lose to win.
Warning, self-destruct mechanism has been activated.
Ramsey agrees to give himself up to Suter to let the family go, but Charlie has other plans.
I'm going back to help him. This is something I have got to do.
Oh, Charlie.
Charlie then barges in with his car, and after Suter almost overpowers him, Charlie comes in for the kill.
The kill.
This causes Suter to go full Lizard King, and we finally get to see his ultimate form. Well, that's pretty underwhelming.
The Swamp Thing tries to kill Charlie and Ramsey, but Ramsey is able to electrocute and finally kill him. The heroes then escape the building before the ship explodes.
Not the real estate!
Oh, Charlie, you are all right. But if you ever do anything like this again...
Yeah, great idea. Give him a concussion right after he almost just died.
By the way, Wilcox, explain your incompetence. My incompetence? Yes? I'm the one who's been saving your butt for the last 3 years. You're the expert. I quit.
After tying up loose ends and doing some sick skateboard tricks, Ramsey prepares to depart from Earth in the bounty hunter's ship.
All right, E.T., ready for blast off. Purely educational.
Tough love, I guess. And after Ramsey leaves, we get one final scene of Charlie finally winning a drag race and blowing up the stoplight for good measure. And that was Suburban Commando. I didn't hate it. I went into this movie with pretty low expectations, and how could I not with the weird story and Hulk Hogan's face on the cover. But all in all, while not a perfect film by any means, I still had a lot more fun with this movie than I was expecting to. The 90s pastiches and campy story felt more charming than annoying, and the absurdity of some scenes left me seriously laughing. Christopher Lloyd did excellent for your typical suburban dad character, and I honestly wish we got more of Shelley Duvall's character, as she was pretty good as well. But if there's one thing that holds this movie back from being fully enjoyable for me, I mean, it's gotta be Hulk Hogan. Hogan certainly isn't a terrible actor, but when placing him next to someone like Christopher Lloyd for most of the movie, he just feels like a charisma vacuum. He was fairly monotone for most of the movie, but when it came to the more intense scenes with Hogan screaming, he could barely muster them out. It also felt very strange to barely have the kids involved too, as the two of them probably have maybe 10 lines total throughout the movie. So yeah, while I did have my fun with this movie, it absolutely has its problems, and I'd only recommend it if you want some ironic laughs. But enough about me. What about you, Mr. Evil YouTube Executive? What did you think about the movie?
I loved it.
You huh?
I absolutely adored every second of this movie, dude. The dry dad humor of the late 80s, perfect. Couldn't be topped. The inappropriate use of antifreeze. Who could have think of that?
Wow. I thought it was impossible for you to enjoy anything, except for other people's misery, of course, but, hey, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Me too, man. I really owe you one. Anyway, though, my home planet is calling back for me, so I'm gonna head out of here. I'll see you when you eventually violate our terms and guidelines again, but, see ya.
Alright, well, that went a lot better than I expected.
Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, even though you asked us not to, we're gonna age restrict this video anyways. Alright, okay, thanks, bye.
That son of a bitch. Anyway, thank you all for watching, don't be racist, and take care.